Fight for your dream because nobody else will. That's the truth. It's your dream, not theirs, not your friends, not your families, and definitely not the world's. Nobody else is going to care about it the way you should. You see, most people wait around hoping someone will come along and push them, or support them, or give them the green light. But that day never comes. Why? Because everyone's busy with their own lives. That's just how it is. If you don't get serious about what you want, nobody's going to remind you. Nobody's going to chase you down and say, hey, don't forget to work on your dream today. That's on you. That's your job. And if you don't fight for it now, someone else will live the life you wanted. Someone else will take the spot you gave up. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why you must take control, why you must act, and why your dream only survives if you protect it. If you're tired of waiting, tired of drifting, and ready to take ownership, this is your message. Number one, get serious about it before life makes you regret. If there's something you want in life, you've got to get serious about it. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when it's convenient. You've got to start now, because time doesn't wait and life doesn't pause for you to make up your mind. If you don't take it seriously now, you may find yourself looking back one day wishing you had. That's not just a possibility, it's a guarantee if you don't decide. Most people don't lose because they're not capable. They lose because they never really decided to go all in. They played around with the idea of their dream. They talked about it. They daydreamed about it. But when it came time to show up and do the work, they hesitated. They waited for a better time. They waited for motivation. They waited for someone to help. But the truth is, nobody is going to hand it to you. And if you're not serious, you'll never last long enough to get it. You've got to treat your dream like it matters, like it's real. Not something you'll try if you have time. Not something you'll pursue when it feels easy. You've got to decide that this is something you will make happen. No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how lonely it feels. Because if you don't give it that kind of importance, it will slip away. You'll blink and 10 years will be gone. That's how fast life moves when you're not paying attention. That's how quickly regret shows up when you stop taking responsibility for your direction. When people say someday, what they really mean is never. Because someday is not on the calendar. It's not a date. It's a feeling people use to avoid action. And that's how dreams die, not with a loud crash, but with slow delay, with distraction, with excuses, with little moments where you could have taken action and didn't. That's why you have to stop telling yourself, you've got time. You don't know how much time you have, but you do know what you can do today. Serious people don't need motivation every morning. They don't need a perfect plan. They wake up and take the next step. They don't blame people. They don't wait for better circumstances. They build something with whatever they've got. They use the time, the energy, the money, the focus they do have. And if it's not much, they use it anyway. Because that's how you get more, by using what you've got with purpose. The world is full of people who had potential. That's not rare. Potential is everywhere. What's rare is someone who sticks with it. Someone who stays consistent. Someone who doesn't fold just because it's hard or slow or painful. That kind of person is rare. That kind of person changes their life. And the reason is simple. They got serious before life forced them to. You don't want life to be the thing that wakes you up. You don't want to wait until the opportunity is gone, until someone else builds what you wanted, until you're too tired, too far behind, or too frustrated to even try. Because the truth is, regret hits harder than failure ever will. You can recover from a mistake. You can bounce back from a loss. But you can't get time back. Once it's gone, it's gone. You know that thing you keep thinking about? The one that keeps coming back? That's not a coincidence. That's your mind trying to tell you what matters. That's your heart trying to point you in a direction. but it doesn't mean anything if you don't act on it. You can't live off ideas. You can only live off action. So the question is, are you willing to get serious about it before you're forced to? Most people wait for pain before they move. They wait for something to fall apart. They wait until they lose a job or get sick or someone leaves them, then they want to change. But that's not strategy. That's survival. If you want to grow, if you want to be proud of who you are, you don't wait until it's bad. You start when it's still in your hands. You take control while you still can. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's not about being the best. It's about being real with yourself. It's about doing what needs to be done even when it's not fun. It's about keeping promises to yourself. Because every time you delay, every time you ignore that inner voice, you lose trust in yourself. And the more you do that, the harder it gets to believe you can actually change. That's why seriousness is the first step. It's the foundation. Without it, everything falls apart. There are people who started after you and passed you, not because they were better, but because they got focused, because they stopped waiting, they stopped overthinking, they made decisions and followed through. They messed up, they got discouraged, but they didn't quit. That's what being serious looks like. It's not always pretty, it's not always exciting, but it's honest, it's real, and it works. You can have anything you're willing to fight for, but only if you're willing to show up when it's hard, when it's quiet, when nobody's watching, when you've got every reason to quit. That's when it counts. That's when it starts becoming real. And if you're not willing to do that, don't expect results that belong to people who are. The world doesn't owe you a breakthrough. Your dream is not going to chase you. You have to meet it halfway. And that means waking up every day and asking yourself, am I actually serious about this? If the answer is yes, then prove it with action, with discipline, with consistency, with sacrifice. That's what seriousness looks like in real life. You've got one life, and inside that life is a small window where you've got the energy and time to build something meaningful. Don't waste it waiting for someone else to believe in you. Don't waste it hoping someone else will fix it. That's your job. That's your duty. If the dream matters to you, act like it. Don't talk like it. Don't post about it. Live like it matters. Get serious about it before life makes the decision for you. Because once it does, the choice is gone, and all you're left with is what could have been. Don't let that happen. Start now, not later, now, because now is the only thing you can control. And if you use it well, everything else can change. Number 2, break the habit of waiting for someone to care. Nobody is going to care about your dream the way you should. Nobody is going to feel what you feel at night when you think about where your life is. Nobody knows the fire inside you. Nobody can carry the weight of your goals for you. And if you're sitting around waiting for someone to notice, to support you, to push you, you're going to be waiting a long time. Because the truth is, most people are too caught up in their own problems, their own lives, their own survival to stop and invest in yours. If you keep waiting for someone to show up and validate what you want, you're giving away your power. You're handing over the responsibility of your future to people who don't owe you anything. That's not strength, that's delay. That's a distraction. People might care for a moment. They might say a few nice words. They might even give you a compliment, but they will not walk the road for you. They will not sacrifice for you. They will not wake up early, stay up late, and push through the pain for your vision. That's your job. There's a hard truth most people avoid. You don't need support to start. You don't need approval to grow. You don't need anyone to understand why you're working so hard. If you keep chasing people's understanding, you'll never build anything. You'll be stuck explaining your effort to people who aren't even putting in their own. You'll waste time trying to make them feel your urgency, and they won't. because they don't live in your shoes. They don't wake up with your thoughts. They don't have your hunger. You've got to break the habit of checking for permission, of waiting for someone to believe in you before you take the next step. You've got to stop looking around hoping someone will notice your effort and give you credit, because here's the truth. In the beginning, no one notices. No one claps. No one texts to say, "I'm proud of you." It's quiet. It's lonely. It's personal. That's what makes it real. Some people wait for years, hoping for the right environment, hoping someone will mentor them, hoping their family will suddenly understand. But those who win in life don't wait. They get tired of waiting. They use what they have. They move even when they're unsure. They stop asking for someone to care and start showing that they care enough for both. You can waste your energy trying to convince people you're serious, or you can put that energy into actually becoming serious. Talk less, do more, build something that can't be ignored, build it with or without the applause, because when you win, the same people who once ignored you will pretend they always supported you. That's how it works. That's how people operate. But you can't build for the crowd. You build for the person you see in the mirror every morning. Nobody feels the weight of your unfulfilled potential the way you do. You're the one who has to live with it. You're the one who has to face what you didn't do. You're the one who'll remember the chances you didn't take. People might forget, they might move on, but you don't. You carry it. So stop giving strangers and passive voices in your life the power to determine how far you go. Stop treating your dream like a group project. You need to become the one who cares the most. The one who shows up even when it's not fun. The one who keeps going even when everyone else stops paying attention. You've got to build resilience that doesn't depend on praise. You've got to build confidence that doesn't rely on approval. You've got to create habits that don't fall apart just because no one else notices them. Most people have good intentions. They'll say they care. They'll tell you to go for it, but intentions don't build dreams. Actions do. You don't need people who say they care. You need to care enough to keep moving when no one else shows up. You need to be so focused on building your future that even if everyone walked away, you'd still be on your feet. That's strength. That's ownership. That's maturity. When you rely on others to keep you motivated, you'll always be unstable. One bad comment will throw you off. One moment of silence will make you doubt everything. That's not a foundation you can build on. You need something deeper. You need to become the person who can push forward without a cheerleader, without a safety net, without a crowd. Because once you learn to do that, you become unstoppable. You weren't born to wait for someone to lead you. You weren't born to beg people to believe in you. That's not how you reach greatness. That's not how you build something that lasts. You've got to lead yourself. You've got to take charge of your mind. You've got to train your emotions to stay steady when everything around you is uncertain. That's the mental toughness that separates people who talk from people who actually do it. If your dream matters, it's worth fighting for, even when it feels like no one cares. It's worth showing up for, even when no one texts back. It's worth the sacrifice, even when it's misunderstood, because it's yours. And if you don't build it, nobody will. If you don't bring it to life, it stays stuck inside you. That's a burden no one else can carry. That's a responsibility only you can fulfill. You've got to stop searching for someone to come rescue you. You've got to quit hoping someone will show up with answers. That mindset keeps people stuck. Waiting becomes a habit. Waiting becomes an identity. And years pass while people wait for something that's never coming. If you want to change your life, you can't wait for someone to care. You've got to decide that you care enough to do it anyway. Don't post for likes, hoping someone will validate your effort. Don't drop hints, hoping someone will give you a push. Don't play the victim, hoping someone will offer a solution. That approach never works. And even if it does temporarily, it doesn't last. You have to shift from needing external motivation to creating your own drive. You do that by choosing to care, choosing to act, choosing to rise. When people say they support you, appreciate it. But don't depend on it. Don't build your mindset around it, because support can fade. People get distracted, they get busy, they forget, but you can't forget what you're building. You can't stop just because someone else moved on. Your progress isn't about how loud others cheer. It's about how strong you are when it's silent. Real growth begins the moment you decide to move without being noticed. Real results start when you take full control of your energy, your time, and your decisions. You are not too early. You are not too late. You are right on time to stop waiting. Right on time to take the next step without approval. Right on time to prove to yourself that you're capable, with or without support. You've got what you need to begin, even if it doesn't feel like enough. Even if people around you don't get it. The starting point isn't being understood. The starting point is being committed. Once you commit, the path gets clearer. You'll meet the right people, you'll find the right rhythm, and you'll build the belief you once thought you needed from others. So now you have a choice. You can keep waiting, you can keep hoping someone notices, or you can stop expecting anyone to care and finally take full control. This is where everything changes. Not when someone lifts you, but when you stand up alone. That's when life respects you. That's when results show up. That's when your dream starts becoming real, because you finally cared enough to stop waiting. Number 3, stop pretending it's okay to settle for less. You know when you're not giving life everything you've got. You feel it. You know when you're staying quiet when you should speak up. You know when you're doing the bare minimum just to get by, and deep down, you know when you've accepted a version of life that doesn't feel right. That discomfort you carry, the one you try to ignore, that's your mind telling you the truth. You've settled. You've lowered your standards. You've started calling things fine that are not fine at all. And the most dangerous part is pretending that it doesn't bother you. You wake up tired, not because of lack of sleep, but because your life doesn't excite you. You go through your day just trying to keep things together, not because you're weak, but because nothing around you is challenging you to rise. You accept relationships that don't grow you. You accept habits that drain you. And every time you tell yourself, this is okay, you lose a little more of your edge. That part of you that used to want more starts to fade. People don't fall into average overnight. They slide into it little by little. One compromise here, one excuse there. One day of comfort turns into a routine, and before long, you're stuck in a life that looks okay on the outside, but feels empty on the inside. That's what settling does. It doesn't hurt loud. It hurts quietly. It creeps into your thinking. It rewires your standards. It convinces you that what you've got is all you're going to get. But here's what you've got to understand. There's nothing noble about accepting less than you're capable of. There's nothing strong about pretending you're happy when you're not. And there's nothing wise about staying where you don't belong, just to avoid the work of change. You can try to lie to yourself. You can smile for other people, but your mind knows. Your gut knows. Every single day, you're either growing or you're shrinking. And when you settle, you shrink. Look at the way you're living. Be honest. Is this how you really want to spend your time? Are you proud of what you're building? Does the life you're living match the potential you know you have? Because if it doesn't, then stop acting like it's enough. Stop calling comfort peace. Stop acting like staying small is just being humble. That's not humility. That's fear hiding behind nice words. You weren't meant to live in survival mode. You weren't made to just get through the day. You weren't born to sit on dreams you don't chase. And if you've been doing that, you can change it. Not overnight, not all at once, but you can change it. but only if you stop pretending everything's okay when it's not. Only if you finally admit to yourself that settling doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It's draining your energy. It's pulling you down. And the longer you accept it, the harder it gets to break free. Start paying attention to your life. The people you spend time with, the way you use your time, the goals you keep putting off, the choices you make when no one's watching. That's your real life. Not what you post, not what you tell people, the stuff you do when nobody sees. That's what defines where you're going. And if those daily habits are small, weak, lazy, or passive, they're not going to give you a strong future. You owe it to yourself to demand more, not from the world, not from people, but from you. You owe it to yourself to push harder even when you don't feel like it. You owe it to yourself to raise your standards and refuse to go backward. It's not about perfection. It's not about being the best. It's about being real with yourself. It's about not settling for average when you were meant to live with purpose. Nobody else can make this decision for you. People will let you settle. They'll tell you to relax. They'll say it's not that bad. They'll tell you to be grateful. And yes, be grateful. But don't confuse gratitude with resignation. You can be thankful and still want more. You can appreciate what you have and still go after what you're capable of. That's not selfish. That's growth. That's responsibility. That's how you respect your potential. It's easy to lie to yourself, to say, I'm fine, to say it's okay, but you know it's not. You know you're not excited to wake up in the morning. You know you're just going through the motions. You know there's more inside you that's not being used. So why keep pretending? Why keep delaying the change you know you need? Every day you pretend, you lose time, and time is the one thing you can't get back. There are people who would give anything to have the chances you've got. The health, the mind, the access, the knowledge, and yet here you are, scrolling through life, hiding from your own greatness. That's not who you were meant to be. You weren't built for excuses. You weren't designed to coast, and you weren't made to bury your dreams under fear and doubt. Stop pretending it's okay. Start getting honest. Ask yourself the hard questions. Where are you playing small? Where are you accepting less than you want? Where are you holding back when you should be stepping up? Don't wait for a breakdown. Don't wait for life to force change. Make the decision now while you still have strength in you. Use the frustration, use the disappointment, use the truth as fuel. That's what strong people do. They don't numb the pain, they use it. Start speaking the truth out loud, not for others, but for yourself. Say it. This isn't good enough for me. Say it. I've been playing small. Say it. I can do better than this. That kind of honesty changes you. It makes you alert. It makes you take control. It makes you stop walking through life on autopilot. That's what you need. Ownership. Total, honest, no excuse ownership. Your future is being shaped right now, not by what you say you want, but by what you're settling for. And if you want a better one, then start demanding more. Start thinking long term. Start creating habits that reflect the life you truly want. Stop spending time with people who lower your drive. Stop accepting work that doesn't challenge you. Stop giving your energy to things that drain your passion. This is not about being angry. It's about waking up to the fact that you're in control, waking up to the fact that you get one shot at this life, waking up to the reality that comfort is the enemy of growth. If it's too easy, it's not helping you. If it's too safe, it's not pushing you. If it feels just okay, that's not good enough. No more pretending. No more calling low standards a lifestyle. No more dressing up disappointment with fake smiles. You want to change your life? Then start where you are, with what you've got. And most importantly, with what you're willing to stop tolerating. Because when you raise your standard, everything else starts to rise with it. It won't be perfect. It won't be smooth. You'll feel resistance. You'll get pushback. That's normal. That's expected, but if you keep pushing anyway, if you keep choosing growth over comfort, truth over excuses, action over silence, you'll build a life you don't have to escape from. You'll look back one day and realize it all changed when you stopped pretending, when you finally told yourself the truth and decided to do something about it. Number 4, choose your future instead of blaming your past. Your past is not a prison. It's not a sentence. It's not something you have to carry with you for the rest of your life. What happened before doesn't get to write what comes next unless you let it. Everyone has a story. Everyone has something they didn't ask for, something they wish never happened, something they wish they could change. But the ones who move forward are the ones who stop pointing at what's behind them and start building what's ahead. There comes a moment when you have to choose. You either keep telling the same story or you decide to write a new one. Blaming the past might feel right. It might even feel justified. Maybe someone hurt you. Maybe you were ignored. Maybe you were never shown how to succeed. But holding on to that doesn't help you grow. It doesn't fix what went wrong, and it doesn't move you forward. All it does is keep you stuck. All it does is make your future look like your history. At some point, you've got to stop explaining where the pain came from and start deciding where your life is going. You don't get to choose what happened to you, but you do get to choose what happens now. You get to choose how you show up. You get to choose how you respond. You get to choose whether the pain controls you or fuels you. But as long as you're still blaming something that's already done, you're giving it power it doesn't deserve. You're letting old moments steal your energy from this moment. That's not strength. That's surrender. There's something powerful about saying, I'm not going to let that define me. Not in words, in action, in how you live, in how you show up every single day. Because what happened to you may not be your fault, but your life still belongs to you. And if you want it to look different, you've got to take ownership of it. That's not easy, but it's the only way forward. When you choose your future, you stop waiting. You stop explaining. You stop carrying around everything people didn't do for you. You stop blaming the environment, the system, the situation, and you ask yourself, what am I doing with what I have now? Because there's always something you can do. You may not have much, but you have something. You may not know everything, but you know enough to take a step. The people who build new lives are the ones who stop waiting for permission and start using what they've got. Look around you. There are people who came from worse, people who were counted out, people who were ignored, abandoned, underestimated, but they didn't let that decide their future. They made choices, hard ones, smart ones. They stopped using the past as an excuse and started using it as a lesson, not a crutch, a lesson. And when they fell, they got up. When they were misunderstood, they kept going because they weren't living for sympathy. They were living for growth. You've got to stop trying to make people understand your struggle. You've got to stop looking for someone to say, it's okay, you've been through a lot. You know you've been through a lot. That's not the point anymore. The point now is, where do you go from here? Because if all you do is replay the pain, you never make room for progress. Your future needs attention. It needs effort. It needs discipline. And none of that can grow if all your energy is focused backward. You get one life. That's it. One chance to decide what kind of person you're going to be, not what kind of person your past made you, what kind of person you're willing to become. And that's the difference between people who build and people who break. One group keeps holding on to what went wrong. The other group keeps reaching for what's possible. It's not about luck. It's about choice. You don't need anyone to fix the past for you. What you need is to take charge of the future, even if it feels messy, even if you're scared, even if it's slow. Because building your life from the ground up is never fast, but it's always worth it. That's how you stop being a victim of what happened and start becoming the author of what's next. And that shift doesn't come from anyone else. It comes from you. Don't let bitterness become your identity. Don't let disappointment make you cold. Don't let a few bad years make you think that's all you get. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to heal. You're allowed to move forward without dragging the past into every conversation. Every time you choose to focus on the future, you give yourself a new chance, a new reason, a new mindset. And if you keep doing that day after day, your life begins to change, slowly, then completely. You can spend years trying to understand why things went wrong, or you can spend today doing something that brings you closer to what's right. One leads to answers, the other leads to results. You've got to decide which one matters more to you. The truth is, most people don't choose. They drift. They go through life repeating what they saw, what they heard, what they lived through. But you're not most people. You've seen what pain looks like. Now it's time to learn what purpose looks like. That only happens when you stop blaming and start building. People will try to keep you in the past, not because they're bad, but because they're stuck too. They don't know what it looks like to rise. They don't know what it feels like to take full control. And when you do that, it makes them uncomfortable. That's not your problem. Your responsibility is not to make others comfortable with your growth. Your responsibility is to grow anyway. You've got to be brave enough to let the past stay where it is. You don't forget it, you don't erase it, but you don't let it lead you anymore. You learn from it, and then you take the lead. You make decisions based on where you're going, not where you've been. You think like a builder. You move like a leader. You train like someone who knows what's at stake. That's how your life starts shifting. Not with one big move, but with daily decisions to stop blaming and start choosing. Choosing your future means doing the hard things. It means learning new habits. It means staying focused when distractions feel easier. It means showing up when nobody else does. It means acting like the future you want is worth fighting for, and then fighting for it. Not with words, not with wishes, with action. Real effort, quiet work. That's what gets results. The world doesn't owe you anything because of your past. That might sound harsh, but it's the truth. What it does offer you is opportunity. And that opportunity is worthless if you don't use it. Nobody is coming to rewrite your story. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And the moment you decide to take it seriously, everything changes. The energy changes. Your mindset sharpens. Your focus returns. Because you've finally stopped looking behind you and started walking forward. You've got power inside you that hasn't even been used yet. You've got strength you haven't discovered. But you'll never see it if you keep blaming what's already done. You want to change your life? Then choose what's next. Choose what matters now. Choose to be better, even if it's hard, even if it's slow, even if no one understands. Because this isn't about the past anymore. It's about what you're willing to become from this moment on. Number 5, face the truth that nobody's coming to save you. At some point in your life, you have to face a hard truth that most people try to avoid. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not your boss, not your partner, not the government, and not the world. People might care. They might want to help. They might offer support for a while. But they're not going to carry your weight. They're not going to fight your battles. They're not going to make the decisions you keep postponing. That responsibility is yours. And the longer you wait for someone else to change your life, the longer you'll stay stuck exactly where you are. You've got to understand that your problems won't disappear because someone feels bad for you. Your dreams won't come true because someone else finally gives you a chance. Your situation won't improve because you wish for it. Real change doesn't come from hope alone. It comes from action. And action doesn't happen unless you step up and own your life completely. That means no more blaming, no more waiting, no more silent prayers that someone shows up with answers. It means realizing that if it's going to happen, it's on you. There's no rescue team on the way. There's no miracle around the corner. If you don't get up and do something about your life, no one else will. You can keep making excuses or you can take control. You can keep explaining why it's hard or you can start doing what's necessary. That choice is always in your hands. And the second you stop looking outside for help, you start finding real strength inside. Most people don't want to hear that. They want to believe someone will notice their struggle and pull them out. They want to believe success is just about being patient. But success isn't waiting for you to be ready. It doesn't show up because you need it. It shows up when you take full ownership of your path. When you stop expecting others to fix what you keep avoiding. When you stop hoping someone shows up and start acting like the person you've been waiting for. You can have mentors. You can have inspiration. You can have support. But none of those things will change your life unless you do. A mentor can guide you, but they won't do the work. Support can lift you up temporarily, but it won't carry your habits. People can believe in you, but that won't matter if you don't believe in yourself. And until you accept that nobody owes you anything, you'll stay in a place of waiting instead of working. Look at your life right now. Every part of it is a result of decisions you've made or decisions you've avoided. That's not an attack. It's a reminder that you have more control than you think. If you don't like where you are, start changing it. Not with big talk, with small, consistent actions. No one is going to come into your life and do it for you. You have to face yourself, face your habits, and face your truth. And the truth is, it's easier to hope for help than it is to help yourself. It's easier to blame circumstances than it is to fix them. It's easier to talk about goals than it is to pursue them daily. That's why most people stay where they are. That's why people keep repeating the same patterns. They haven't faced the truth yet. They're still hoping that someday someone will arrive and make it all easier. But that's not how life works. You become powerful the moment you stop expecting someone else to do what you won't. You become free the second you realize no one's coming, not to rescue you, not to hold your hand, not to make it easier. That's the moment when things begin to shift. Because now it's all on you. That kind of pressure builds real character. That kind of reality pushes you to grow up emotionally. It makes you stronger. It makes you more focused. It forces you to look at what matters and let go of what doesn't. You've got to take responsibility for your energy, your time, your money, your discipline, your decisions. No one else is going to wake up and build your future. No one else is going to make sure you stay consistent. That's not their job. It's yours. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you take control. Life rewards people who act, not people who wait. Not people who explain, not people who dream without execution. This doesn't mean you do everything alone. It means you lead the way. It means you become your own foundation. It means you stop collapsing every time someone doesn't show up for you. Because when you stand on your own 2 feet, everything changes. You stop depending on unstable people. You stop expecting others to care more than you do. You stop waiting for validation and start building results. And results don't care how you feel. Results don't care about your past. Results don't ask if it's been fair. They show up when you show up. That's the standard. That's the truth. You either rise to it or you don't. But either way, no one is going to carry you to it. You've got to walk yourself there. You've got to stay in motion even when it hurts, even when you feel lost, even when nothing seems to work, because that's what self-responsibility looks like. The world doesn't need more people waiting to be saved. It needs more people who are willing to save themselves. People who look at their pain and choose growth. People who face disappointment and keep pushing forward. People who stop hoping for someone to fix things and start fixing them with what they've got. That's power. That's real self-respect. That's ownership of your future. And you know deep down you've got more in you. You know you've been holding back. You know you've been avoiding the hard work. Maybe because you were scared. Maybe because you felt alone. Maybe because it felt easier to wait. But now is the time to stop. Now is the time to shift. You've got to be the one who steps up. You've got to be the one who creates change. You've got to be the one who doesn't give up, even when nobody's watching. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. And once you see what you're capable of, you'll never want to go back to waiting. You'll never want to go back to hoping someone else shows up, because you'll know everything you needed was inside you, not in others, not in permission, not in rescue, in you. And that's where your future begins, right there, when you face the truth and decide to be the one who makes it happen. Number 6. Use your pain as fuel instead of a story. Everyone experiences pain. Some carry it in silence, some wear it on their face, and some keep it buried deep where no one can see. But no matter where you store it, pain is real. It shows up in different forms. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe you grew up with nothing. Maybe you failed at something you gave your heart to. Maybe you were left out, overlooked, dismissed. Maybe you lost something you loved. That's life. And life doesn't ask you if you're ready for pain, it just gives it to you. But what you do with it is your decision. And you have 2 choices. You either turn it into a story that keeps you stuck, or you use it to drive your life forward. Too many people stay trapped inside the things that hurt them. They keep repeating the same pain over and over in their mind, telling themselves and others about how unfair it was, how hard it's been, how much it still hurts. And there's nothing wrong with feeling the weight of your story. But the problem is, the longer you stay in it, the more it becomes your identity. You start waking up every day thinking like a victim instead of a builder. You let what happened back then control what you do now, and that's how pain wins. But pain doesn't have to win. It doesn't have to keep you small. It doesn't have to define how far you go. The truth is, pain can be the reason you rise. It can be the reason you move. It can be the reason you refuse to live like everybody else. It can light a fire in you that nothing else can. But only if you stop using it as a reason to quit and start using it as fuel to grow. The energy that pain gives you is real. But how you use that energy is the difference between building and breaking. If you use it to complain, to repeat your past, to explain why nothing ever works for you, it becomes a wall. It becomes another excuse. But if you use it to push yourself, to focus, to stay disciplined, to show the world that you won't be defined by your damage, then that same pain becomes your edge. It becomes your power. You have to get honest about how much time you've spent repeating your pain instead of rebuilding your life. You've got to stop confusing processing pain with clinging to it. Talking about it again and again, blaming everyone else, replaying every detail. That's not healing. That's holding on. Healing is when you take what happened and make it mean something new. Not by forgetting it, not by pretending it didn't hurt, but by refusing to let it control your next step. Nobody else is going to do that work for you. People will sympathize, but sympathy won't change your life. People will listen, but listening won't build your future. At some point, you have to stop needing others to feel bad for you and start being proud of yourself for surviving. That's what strong people do. They turn pain into action. They use it to level up. They use it to create something better. They don't let it sit there and rot inside them. If life has hurt you, good. Use it. Let it remind you that you've made it through worse. Let it keep you focused. Let it keep you sharp. You've already paid the price in pain. Don't waste it by staying stuck. Use it to break limits. Use it to prove to yourself that you're not done, that you've still got more in you, more to learn, more to give, more to create. The world is full of people who never got over what hurt them, not because they couldn't, but because they didn't want to. They let it define them. They found comfort in the sadness. They built their identity around the wound, and they stayed there for years. Some never leave. But that doesn't have to be your story. You can change the meaning of your pain. You can rise with it. You can let it build your character, not break it down. There's something powerful about turning your scars into lessons, about walking into a room with pain behind your eyes and strength in your posture, about knowing that nobody gave you anything, but you kept showing up anyway. That's what people remember, not what happened to you, but how you responded. That's what shapes your reputation. That's what teaches others. That's what builds legacy, not perfection, not ease, but resilience. You don't have to talk about your pain to prove you've been through something. You don't have to put it on display for people to take you seriously. What you do now speaks louder than anything you say. The habits you live with, the energy you carry, the way you treat people, that's your message. And when it comes from a place of strength earned through pain, it carries weight. You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to break. You're allowed to cry. But then you've got to get back up and move. You've got to stop waiting for the pain to leave and start building while it's still there. That's where real growth happens. Not when everything is perfect, not when it's easy, but when it's hard and you still choose to keep going. That's when your mind gets stronger. That's when your discipline tightens. That's when you learn who you are. If your pain still hurts, good. That means it still has power. But don't let that power go to waste. Channel it. Train with it. Work with it. Wake up early because of it. Stay focused because of it. Don't let it keep you down. Let it push you harder than you've ever been pushed, because that's how you win. Not by avoiding pain, but by learning to use it. You've got a future to build. You've got goals to chase. You've got time to redeem. And every second you spend stuck in what happened is time stolen from what could happen. You don't get that time back, so use it wisely. Use your pain to create progress. Use it to change your habits. Use it to strengthen your focus. And when someone asks you how you made it, you don't have to give them the story of your pain. You can show them the results of your fight. That's the only story that matters now. Not what happened, but what you did with it. Not how it hurt, but how you rebuilt. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes you unstoppable. That's what separates the ones who grow from the ones who stay stuck. And the truth is, you don't need more time. You don't need another apology. You don't need someone to make it right. You need to take everything that hurt you and let it sharpen your vision, fuel your action, and guide your future. Because that's how you turn pain into progress. That's how you take your life back.
Number 7, work like it's your only shot, because it is. Most people don't take their life seriously enough. They talk about their goals like there will always be time to get serious later. They act like another chance will come if this one slips by. But the truth is, this is it. This is your shot. This isn't practice. This isn't rehearsal. This is the one life you get. And if you waste it waiting for perfect timing or hoping things get easier, you're going to miss everything you were capable of doing. That's why you've got to work like it's your only chance, because it is. You don't know how much time you have left. You don't know how long your energy will last. You don't know what doors will close if you don't move now. Thinking you can always catch up later is a lie that keeps people behind forever. What you do today matters. What you do right now creates what you live with tomorrow. If you give weak effort today, you live with weak results tomorrow. If you don't push now, don't expect something powerful to show up later. That's not how life works. When you realize that this is your one shot, you start taking things personally. You start waking up with urgency. You stop wasting hours on things that don't build you. You stop complaining about how hard it is and start focusing on how worth it will be. You stop comparing yourself to people who don't want what you want. You stop spending time with people who don't push you to get better. You start looking at your time like it's gold, because it is. Working like it's your only shot means you stop waiting for motivation. You stop needing someone to remind you why you started. You stop using your feelings as a guide and start using your discipline. You do the work not because it feels good, but because you know what's at stake if you don't. Every skipped workout, every wasted day, every missed opportunity, they all add up. And eventually they cost you more than you realize. You've got to stop thinking you have forever. You don't. Time is moving whether you act or not. Every second you waste waiting is a second someone else is using to get ahead. You're not competing against anyone, but you are responsible for how far you go. If you know what you want, then prove it by how you move. Talk is cheap. Effort is everything. People want big results with small commitment. They want a strong future without making strong decisions. They want freedom without discipline. But that's not how this works. The people who win are the ones who show up when it's boring, when it's hard, when no one notices. They're not doing it for attention. They're doing it because they understand the value of now. They understand that this shot won't last forever. They know that wasting time is the fastest way to kill potential. You've got to start living like it matters. You've got to start acting like this dream is real, not someday, now. If you keep acting like there's a backup plan, you'll never give this your full attention. And if you never give it your full attention, you'll never know what you were truly capable of becoming. That's one of the worst regrets. Knowing you had more in you but never gave it. Working like it's your only shot means you go to bed knowing you gave everything you had. It means you stay locked in when distractions come. It means you don't let temporary feelings change permanent goals. You protect your vision, you protect your time, you protect your energy. Because you understand that nobody is going to do this for you. This is your responsibility. You've got to earn it. Nobody's handing out dreams. Nobody's giving away success. It's earned. In the dark, in silence, in discipline, in decision. In all the hours you could have relaxed but chose to keep building. In all the moments you felt tired but still kept showing up. That's where success is built. Not in noise, not in hype, but in the consistency of your effort. Every day you waste thinking you've got time is a day you lose progress. And one day you'll run out of days. That's the truth. And when that happens, all you'll have left is what you built or what you didn't. So stop living like you've got forever. Start moving like today is your moment. Because it is. This is your season. This is your window. This is the time when everything can change, but only if you change. Your effort must match your ambition. If you say it matters to you, show it. If you say you want it, prove it. No one's convinced by your words. They're convinced by your grind. They see how early you wake up. They see how late you stay in the work. They see what you turn down. They see what you keep pushing through. That's how people know you're serious. Not by what you say, but by what you refuse to let stop you. There's something powerful about realizing that nobody is coming to push you, that no moment is guaranteed, that if you want this life to look different, it has to be you. It has to be your choices, your habits, your standard. It has to be you who says, I'm going to treat this like my one and only shot. And when you do that, you become unstoppable. Not because it gets easy, but because you get focused. You get locked in. You get so tired of wasting time that you no longer allow yourself to slip. Working like it's your only shot also means letting go of the comfort zone. It means stepping into things that challenge you. It means choosing the hard path, not because you like pain, but because you respect progress. It means pushing when others quit. It means leading yourself when no one claps. That's the mindset of someone who understands the truth. This is it. This is your moment to break through. This is your season to rise. This is your time to stop talking and start proving. Nobody is going to beg you to become great. Nobody is going to remind you every morning to work hard. That's your job. And the ones who win, they treat it like a job, like a mission, like there is no plan B. Because when you treat it that way, you start becoming the person who can handle the future you say you want. There's no more room for halfway effort. There's no more space for lazy thinking. You've got something inside you that you haven't even touched yet. But you'll never find it if you keep giving average effort. You'll never reach it if you keep acting like tomorrow is guaranteed. You've got to wake up and remind yourself, this is it. This is the time to go all in. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need people to understand your urgency. You just need to move like you understand the cost of waiting. Because one day the chance will be gone. And the question will be, did you work like it was your only shot? Or did you hope for another one while life kept moving without you? You decide how this goes. You decide what gets built. You decide if the effort you gave matched the life you said you wanted. Work like it matters. Work like your future depends on it. Work like this is the moment everything can shift because it is. This is your only shot. Make it count.
Number 8, shut down every excuse that keeps you average. Excuses are comfortable. They give you a way out. They protect you from responsibility. They sound reasonable and they sound safe. But they're the exact reason most people stay average their whole lives. Every time you use an excuse, you're not just explaining a delay, you're building a wall between you and the life you want. That wall gets higher every time you repeat it. If you don't shut down those excuses, you'll spend your life justifying why nothing ever changed instead of doing what it takes to change it. Excuses come dressed up as logic. They come with good reasons. I'm tired, I'm busy, I didn't grow up with support, I don't have enough money, I've tried before and failed, I don't know where to start. These statements feel real, but they're not the reason you're stuck. The real reason is simple. You let them run your life. You gave them power. You gave them space in your mind. And the more space you give them, the harder it becomes to move forward. The truth is, nobody's life is perfect.
Nobody starts with all the tools. Nobody has endless time or unlimited energy. The difference between people who rise and people who remain stuck is that one group stops giving themselves an excuse to stay the same. They decide that the reason something is hard is the exact reason to do it, not to avoid it. They don't say, "I can't." They say, "I must." They don't wait for perfect. They work with what they have. If you want to break average, you have to shut the door on every excuse you've ever used to stay comfortable. You have to look each one in the face and say, "That's not good enough anymore." No more blaming your schedule. No more blaming your upbringing. No more saying it's not the right time, because the truth is, there's never a perfect time. There's only right now, and right now is all you'll ever have to make a decision. Average people wait for permission. They wait for the mood. They wait for clarity. They wait until the pressure is gone. But high achievers don't do that. They move through confusion. They push through uncertainty. They act even when it's hard, because they've made a decision that their life will not be ruled by excuses. They don't listen to the voice that says, "Do it later." They respond with, "I'm doing it now." You have to be real with yourself. Excuses are not facts, they're just thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. You're not stuck because of your situation. You're stuck because of your attitude toward the situation. You've accepted a story about why it's not possible instead of writing a new one about how you're going to make it work. That's what average thinking does. It protects your pride instead of pushing your potential. You've got to get angry at your excuses. You've got to get tired of hearing yourself say the same thing every week with nothing to show for it. You've got to decide that you're done settling. Because the longer you keep letting excuses guide you, the more used to losing you become. And once you get comfortable with losing, it's a hard habit to break. This is your wake-up call. You don't get another life. This is it. You're either going to own it or excuse it, and you can't do both. The person you want to become will not be built by delay. They will not be built by justifying laziness. They will be built by discipline, by consistency, by effort. And that requires you to cut off everything that gives you permission to play small. Stop saying you don't have time. Look at where your hours go. Look at what you choose to do with your evenings. Look at the energy you give to things that bring no return. You have time, you're just spending it wrong. Stop saying you're too tired. You're not tired, you're unfocused. The more you waste your energy on useless habits, the less energy you'll have for the things that matter. And stop saying you're not ready. You've been thinking about it long enough. You've had the vision long enough. The only thing left to do now is move. Shutting down excuses means calling yourself out. It means being brutally honest. It means admitting that you've been lazy, distracted, or scared. Not to beat yourself up, but to snap yourself out of it. Because nobody is going to force you to grow. Nobody is going to drag you to your goals. You've got to push yourself. You've got to decide that you're done listening to the soft voice that says, "It's okay to stay here. It's not okay to stay there." Not if you know you want more. Not if you know you're capable of more. That desire you feel, that sense that something bigger is possible, that's not something to ignore. That's the part of you that's alive. And every time you make an excuse, you suffocate that voice. You tell it to wait. You silence the fire. And eventually it stops speaking. But it's not gone. You can bring it back. You can decide that starting today, you won't let any excuse hold you down again. You won't let your feelings dictate your future. You'll let your standards take the lead. You'll let your goals speak louder than your doubts. And that's when things start to shift. That's when you stop dragging yourself through life and start driving yourself forward. There is no excuse that's stronger than your ability to change. No excuse has more power than your decisions. You are not a victim of your past. You are not limited by your circumstances. You are limited by what you tolerate. And if you're ready to level up, you've got to stop tolerating average effort, average focus, average results. You've got to demand more from yourself. Not tomorrow, now. Shut down the excuse that says, "I don't feel like it." Your feelings don't decide your future. Your actions do. Shut down the excuse that says, "I'm not good enough." You get better by doing, not by doubting. Shut down the excuse that says, "It's too late." It's only too late if you never start. Shut down the excuse that says, "What if I fail?" You fail by never trying. But if you try, you grow. If you show up, you learn. And eventually you win. You've got one job. Stop getting in your own way. Stop making excuses sound noble. They're not. They don't protect you. They imprison you. They don't comfort you. They weaken you. They don't help. They hurt. So shut them down. Every single one. Replace them with action. Replace them with focus. Replace them with progress. And don't just do it once. Do it daily. Excuses don't disappear. You have to outwork them, outdecide them, outdiscipline them. That's how you rise. That's how you separate yourself from the average. That's how you earn the life you want. You stop explaining why you can't, and you start proving that you can. Number 9, act now or watch someone else live your dream. The idea you've been holding on to, the dream you keep talking about, the life you say you want, it won't wait forever. While you're thinking about it, while you're planning it, while you're waiting for a perfect day to start, someone else is already doing it. Someone else woke up today and made a decision you've been avoiding. They didn't have more time, more talent, or more support. They just acted. And now they're ahead of you. Not because they're better, but because they moved when you didn't. You don't lose your dream in one day. You lose it slowly, one misstep at a time. Every time you tell yourself, I'll do it later. Every time you scroll past what should inspire you. Every time you tell yourself you're not ready yet, you give someone else room to take what could have been yours. That's how it happens. You don't get robbed, you give it away. Not to a person, but to delay, to fear, to hesitation. There's nothing worse than watching someone else live out the exact thing you once wanted. Seeing them walk the path you could have walked. Watching them succeed with the idea you thought of. That stings. But that pain is the cost of waiting. That's the price of playing small. Because in the real world, dreams don't belong to the most deserving. They belong to the most committed. The ones who act, not the ones who just think. You can tell yourself you'll get serious tomorrow. You can say you need more clarity. You can keep looking for signs or confidence or approval. But while you're doing that, someone else is building. Someone else is using the same 24 hours to move forward. They didn't have perfect conditions either. They just had a decision, and they made it. They didn't let fear win. They didn't let doubt talk them out of it. They just got tired of watching life pass by. Your dream is real. It's possible. But it's not promised. It won't stick around forever waiting on you to believe in it. Eventually, if you don't take action, it finds someone who will. Because dreams need motion. They need commitment. They don't live in people who hesitate. They live in people who build. So ask yourself, how long have you been putting this off? How many chances have you let slip? How many times have you watched someone else take a step you could have taken? You don't need more time. You need more urgency. You don't need more information. You need more movement. You don't need another plan. You need to stop making excuses. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about doing what you can with what you have. The people who win don't know everything. They just know they can't wait. They know that action leads to clarity, not the other way around. You can sit there thinking about your potential, or you can get up and start proving it. You can stay in your comfort zone, or you can take a risk that changes your life. But you can't have both. You can't be passive and powerful at the same time. One leads to regret, the other leads to growth. And every day you choose. Every morning you open your eyes. You're deciding whether to move or stall. And those small decisions shape everything. Nobody gets to live their dream by accident. It doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. And not just once, but every day. You choose to show up. You choose to do the work. You choose to keep going when nothing is working. And if you stop choosing, you start slipping. That's how it happens. Quietly, slowly. Until one day you see someone else doing what you once swore you'd do. And the truth is that doesn't have to be you. You still have time. You still have options. But only if you start now. Only if you stop lying to yourself about why you haven't started yet. Only if you finally admit that waiting hasn't helped. You don't need to think about it anymore. You don't need to talk about it anymore. You need to move before someone else takes what you were meant to have. You've got to feel that urgency, not as pressure, but as purpose. This is your shot, your idea, your life. Don't hand it away by staying still. Don't watch someone else become what you were supposed to be. Don't sit on the sidelines cheering for a version of you that never existed. Make it real. Make it now. Start messy if you have to. Start small if that's all you can do. But start. The people who act fast are not fearless. They just know what's on the line. They know what it feels like to waste time. They've felt the regret of delay, and they don't want to feel it again. That's why they don't wait for everything to be perfect. That's why they don't wait for confidence. They know confidence comes from doing, not from sitting still. And you've got to do the same. You've got ideas sitting in your head that could change your life, but they're worthless if they stay there. Thoughts don't build a future. Work does. Discipline does. Action does. So stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what if it does? What if everything you want is waiting on the other side of one brave decision? What if the only thing standing between your dream and your reality is your hesitation? You'll never know until you act. You'll never feel ready enough. You'll never be fully sure. But you don't need certainty. You need courage. The courage to say, I'm not letting this pass me by. The courage to say, I'm going to fight for this like it matters, because it does. This isn't just another goal. This is your future. This is your life. And you either build it or watch someone else walk away with it. Act now, not next week. Not when you feel better. Not when things slow down. Now, because now is all you've got. If you don't claim your space, someone else will. If you don't show up, someone else will. If you don't take your shot, someone else will. And you'll be left wondering what could have happened if only you had moved when it was still yours to take. Number 10, Commit fully, so failure has no room to stay. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they never fully commit. They try things, but they don't go all in. They say the right words, but their actions are inconsistent. They show up sometimes, but not every time. They treat their goals like options instead of responsibilities. And when you do that, failure finds a home. It grows in hesitation. It feeds off doubt. It sticks around when you leave the door open. The only way to push it out is to fully commit. When you're fully committed, failure might visit, but it never gets to stay. There's a huge difference between being interested in something and being committed to it. Interested people do what's convenient. Committed people do what's required. Interested people quit when it's hard. Committed people dig deeper. Interested people make excuses. Committed people make adjustments. If you're serious about success, you've got to remove the backup plans. You've got to stop preparing to fall and start preparing to fight. Because when you give yourself a way out, you'll eventually take it. Full commitment means you don't leave space for doubt to grow. You don't keep checking if it's going to be easy. You don't keep asking if it's still worth it. You decide once, and then you reinforce that decision every single day. That's how you build real momentum. That's how you keep going even when things don't go your way. You're not driven by results alone. You're driven by the decision you already made. That's how you stay in motion when others fall off. Most people think failure happens all at once. It doesn't. It happens slowly. Through small compromises, through skipped routines, through lack of urgency, through distractions that look harmless. Every time you break your own standard, you give failure more space. It doesn't need a big opening, just a crack. And that crack forms when your commitment starts to fade, when you start saying things like, just for today, or I'll catch up tomorrow. That's how discipline breaks down. That's how results start to disappear. But when you're fully committed, you shut all of that down before it starts. You don't negotiate with excuses. You don't trade today's work for tomorrow's regret. You don't leave room for laziness to grow into a routine. You set your standard and you protect it. No matter what, you train your mind to focus. You train your emotions to stay steady. You train your behavior to match your goals. That's how you turn effort into consistency and consistency into success. Full commitment isn't about hype. It's not about shouting your goals out loud. It's about showing up on the days that feel slow, on the days that feel heavy, on the days that nobody is watching. That's where your character gets built, not when you feel like it, but when you don't. If you only show up when it's easy, you'll never build anything worth having, because anything worth having will demand your full attention, your full energy, your full loyalty. There's a kind of power that only shows up when you decide you're not going to quit. It doesn't happen when you're halfway in. It happens when you cross the line in your mind and say, this is who I am now. And from that moment on, everything shifts. You stop needing motivation. You stop chasing perfect days. You become the kind of person who finishes what they start. You stop folding when things break. You fix them. You stop waiting for results to stay committed. You stay committed until results show up. You've got to take your focus back. You've got to take your time back. You've got to take your standards back. That's what full commitment looks like. It's when your effort matches your ambition. It's when your actions prove your goals matter. It's when you stop wondering if this is going to work and start deciding that you'll make it work, even if it's slow, even if it's frustrating, even if nobody claps, because none of that changes your mission. When failure sees someone who's all in, it looks for someone else. It finds someone who's still unsure, someone who's still halfway, someone who's only doing the work when it feels good. But it can't stick around someone who shows up every single day, no matter what. Someone who takes ownership of every detail. Someone who doesn't blame people or circumstances, but instead finds a way to keep building. That's the kind of person you've got to be. Not perfect, just committed. You don't need more tips. You don't need more time. You need to decide. You need to draw a line. You need to stop dipping your toe in the water and jump all the way in. That's how real change happens. It doesn't come from comfort. It comes from commitment. From deciding that you're done with average. From refusing to live another year explaining why nothing changed. From being honest enough to say, I've been holding back, and I'm done with that. The life you want will not arrive while you stay in neutral. It doesn't show up while you procrastinate. It doesn't knock on your door while you scroll through distractions. It only shows up when you become a different person, a more focused person, a more disciplined person, a more intentional person. And that version of you only comes out when you go all in. Not halfway, not part-time, fully. You've got what it takes, but that's not the question. The question is, are you willing to give what it takes? Not just when it feels good, but especially when it doesn't. Not just when people are cheering, but when it's quiet. That's when it counts. That's when you know if you're really about it, if you're really serious, if you're truly committed to building a future that doesn't fall apart under pressure. So commit fully, not for one day, not until it gets tough. Commit for good. Commit with everything you've got, because when you do, you don't have to worry about failure sticking around. It might knock on the door, but you'll be too focused, too locked in, too consistent to open it. You'll outwork it. You'll outlast it. You'll push past it, because failure can't survive where full commitment lives. So now the choice is yours. You can keep waiting, hoping, and explaining, or you can take full control of your life starting today. Nobody's going to hand you your dream. Nobody's going to fight your battles. If it really matters to you, prove it with how you show up every single day. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait for support. Fight for your dream, because nobody else will. That's the truth. Own it, live it, and watch how everything starts to change. Not someday, but the moment you finally decide to take responsibility. Your future is waiting. Go earn it.